This
you
is
got
Hello Guys.
somewhere to be. I've been floating out in space. I thought I'd write
Do you remember what it
these
felt like
days.
to just exist? Long summer nights without a care in the world, the same faces that felt like home, no responsibilities, just pure presence. Simpler times. But what felt like a moment, it was gone. Months would go by in what felt like an instant, and all of a sudden years vanish and you find yourself longing for a time that no longer exists. That feeling, like something beautiful is slightly out of reach, like the best parts of your life are already behind you. That's nostalgia. It comes from the Greek word nostos, meaning homecoming, and algos, pain, literally translating to the pain of wanting to return home. Originally used to describe homesickness, now a bittersweet affection for the past. And every single person on this planet has felt it. But what if nostalgia is more than just a feeling? What if it was actually one of the most powerful truths about your life? Because once you understand what nostalgia is actually telling you, the way you see your past, your present, and everything ahead of you changes completely. For the longest time, I've been obsessed with one question. Why do we get nostalgic? The easy answer is simpler times. Less responsibilities, no bills, just long days and familiar faces. And sure, that's part of it. But if that was it, then why do entire generations get nostalgic for a time they never lived in? I mean, think about it. Right now, there are people obsessed with the 80s. Fashion cycles come back, music samples old records, movies are constantly getting rebooted, whole aesthetics get rebuilt from scratch just to recreate a feeling from a time most people weren't even alive for. So what's really going on? Why does an entire generation spend so much time looking backwards? Because the past is the only place in your life that's certain. When you look back, you already know how everything played out. You know you got through it. You know you survived the heartbreak, the failures, the moments that felt unsurvivable. You made it through all of it. And when we look back on past generations, there's comfort in knowing that everything worked out. Humans overcame every adversity that came our way, war, natural disaster, disease, but nobody gets that certainty about the future. The world right now is loud and uncertain and moving faster than any of us can keep up with. So much is happening, so much is changing, and it makes it so hard to have any real hope or confidence about what's ahead. So we do what humans have always done. We look back. Because back there, everything is certain. Back there, we already know how it worked out. Back there is a version of ourselves we understand completely. And that feeling, that comfort of certainty, is what we call nostalgia. But I think there's something deeply flawed about nostalgia. You hear it all the time. I wish there was a way to know we were in the good old days before you've actually left them. And it's true, because 5 years from now, you'll look back on these exact moments and feel that same warmth. And 5 years from then, you'll do it again, a constant, never-ending cycle. I think 2016 is the most accurate example of this. I vividly remember people calling it one of the worst years of the decade. Little did we know we'd eventually be worshipping it like it was the best year of all time. And I can speak on this personally. In my third year of university, I was nostalgic about high school. Seeing the same faces every day, the simplicity of it, not a care in the world. Then university ended, and now I'm nostalgic about that too. Every phase of life, you look back at the one before it with the same warmth. But you never remember the anxiety before the exam that felt like it would define your entire future, the friendships that fell apart, the heartbreak, the embarrassment, the moments you were absolutely certain the world was ending. Those moments happened. You lived through every single one of them, but your brain silently deleted them and kept everything else. And while it's doing that to the past, it's doing the complete opposite to your present. Right now, your brain is cataloging every flaw, every frustration, every gap between where you are and where you want to be. So you end up making a comparison that was never fair to begin with, a highlight reel of your past against an unfiltered blooper reel of your present. And of course, the past wins. Of course, it feels like things used to be better, but here's what's beautiful about all this. In this exact moment, right now, you are building the memories you will one day call the good old days. Because when you were living in those moments you now look back on so fondly, you weren't thinking about how you'd feel about them 5 years later. You weren't trying to preserve them or be grateful for them. You were just living without realizing what you had. So what is nostalgia actually telling us about our lives? Every moment that you look back on, you were going through something. You had problems, fears, anxiety, and you got through them, every single one. And your brain removed those moments of hardship and instead replaced them with things you can look back on. So nostalgia isn't just a feeling, it's proof. Proof that everything you have ever faced in life, you overcame. And one day you're going to look back on those moments and say, I did that. I overcame that. I made it through some of the hardest moments of my life. And you will. Because you always have. So here's the mentality I think you need to carry into everything. Not just for chasing a dream or hitting a goal. Just life in general. No matter what happens, it's going to work out. Not because someone promised you that, but because your entire past is proof of it. You've made it to this exact moment. Through everything, you made it here. And if you made it here, imagine what you'll overcome next. Life moves forward. You can get through everything. You're making progress and changing and becoming better, even when it feels like you're standing still. The present always becomes the past, and the past always becomes proof. So why do you assume that things won't work out if your past has always proved you otherwise? I was sitting in my hotel room the other day just thinking, and it hit me. Life can change so fast. One day you're doing this, the next day you're doing something completely different. The people around you change, the places change, you change. And I think a lot of that feeling, that ache of nostalgia, comes from change. Because change is hard. It's genuinely hard to leave behind the things that became part of your identity. But change is proof that life is moving, that something new is being built, even when you can't see it yet. Every phase of your life you've ever been nostalgic about, you had to leave it to get to the next one. Isn't it weird that day by day, nothing seems to change, but when you look back, everything is different? And the moments you're living right now, the ones that feel so ordinary, so uncertain, your future self is going to look back on them and feel that same warmth you feel when you think about the good old days. Because you are in the good old days. You always have been. It is a privilege to feel nostalgia. It means you have lived a life worth missing. It means you have loved people worth missing, experienced moments worth holding on to. Not everyone gets that. And every hard thing you have ever faced, you were on the other side of it. So whatever is in front of you right now, one day, you'll look back on it as well, with a sense of nostalgia. So keep going, because you already know how this ends.